here, boys. Can you hear me just while this is counting in? Checking the sound, all that sort of stuff. Get this show underway. G'day, Stu from UAV Futures here, and welcome, I guess, to the FPV mix. We're doing a bit of a live stream, just having some fun, talking to you guys, of course, in lockdown. Thanks very much, coronavirus. So I thought I'd jump in, answer some questions, have some fun, watch some videos, and pretty much just hang out. I know this is a bit of a different time as well. Normally, I think we're catering for the US a little bit more, but I thought I might do a bit more of an Aussie stream as well. So shout out to the Australian viewers. There's not too many of us down here, but hopefully you guys can enjoy this as well. If you've got any questions, throw them up in the chat. I thought what we could do today, I'm going to be going through, looking at some batteries, talking about different battery experiences, pretty much shopping around, trying to find out what batteries go with what craft, what the C ratings mean, all that sort of stuff. So if you've got some questions about batteries, throw them down below as well. And also, I feel like I've had a lot of experience with different brands. I've tried a lot of different batteries, talk about the pros and cons of each. Are there some good value batteries? What ones are more expensive? All that sort of stuff. And also, something you guys can do for me is let me know on the sound and the mic checks, the stream quality, all that sort of stuff. That's sort of the things that I need to check to get this stream working, because this is like the third one I've ever done. So I want to know just how well is it actually going. There we go. There's so many windows open too. I'm always worried I'm going to click like the wrong button, all that sort of stuff. Maybe I could just have that window open. Looks like it's all going pretty well. YouTube's not complaining too much, and the Australian internet isn't totally dead. Oh, I even got a super chat. Thanks very much, Plummet FPV. Cheers. If you've got any questions, man, fire them down below. And that's nice to say that you appreciate me. I appreciate you as well. Thank you very much. Right, yeah, it's all sounding good in the chat. People seem very happy. They can hear me, all that sort of stuff. For first things first, let's go shopping for some batteries. But Bubby FPV, my quad has video issues when I fly high throttle. My video goes to static. Do you know what's happening? Yeah. So I would say when you're going to be doing a punch out, and let's say this should be a perfect example. Hopefully it's on this build somewhere. I think it might be situated in the back here. It's actually glued in. But what's happening is you need a capacitor on your drone. So I'd say put a cap on, because it's drawing all this current in there. There's so much interference, so much noise. If you put a couple of caps on here as close as you can to the ESC, that's going to solve a lot of those video issues when you're doing a big punch out. So if you're getting video static, yeah, put a huge cap on, solder it on somewhere. Some people like to put them on their XD60. I know that's what Catalyst Machine Works does, but the closer you can get them to your ESCs, that's where all the noise comes from. Make sure that's all nice and taken care of. And also, don't stick your video VTX bang on top of your ESCs if in a really, really, really tight build. So that would be my little recommendation. Anyway, what we're talking about batteries. If you're just tuning in, looking at this stream, answering some questions, all that sort of stuff, and I'm probably going to get really distracted and talk about different things. We'll go off topic, all that sort of stuff, but just have some fun, basically. So Tweak FPV lagged out for a minute. All good. RC stores are in Aussie. I'm still practicing my turning skills on the DRL sim. That's from Epilogi. Yep, I would say definitely if you're jumping on the sim, that is fantastic. It's what everybody should start on. All right, have you heard, this might even be a joke. Have you heard of the Mobula 6 to 7 conversion? Good or bad? I thought that was going to be a joke. Like, what did one Mobula 7 say to the other Mob 7? Anyway, Mobula 6 conversion. Let's see, is that an actual thing? I should actually buy it right, Mobula. Because I'm getting, okay. Looks like John Moore is doing this. I don't actually know. I'm going to put the sound off on his videos. Let's have a look. What does he actually claim? If we go to, hopefully this is going to work. What's he actually saying here? With larger props, it increases the thrust to this much. Flight time increases to 3 to 4 minutes, and the weight only increases by 1.9 grams. Amazing for long range, and has a good camera. Interesting conversion, but from a power, flight time, value perspective, why not just get a Mobula 7 and fly it with 2S? When you say longer flight times, was it because of the bigger battery? That might make a interesting comparison. Let's see what he does here. I don't just want to watch someone else's video because I feel like that's just kind of ripping off their content. But if you want to check it out more, definitely go, I guess, give John Moore a sub. He looks like he just pretty much converts it out and tries it in. So no, I don't. Oh, let's see how it actually flies here. Let's see what it's like. All right, we're checking out John Moore's house. He's got some cool little gates zipping around. Some sort of. Actually, I think I've watched this guy's videos before. Maybe he has a Labrador and a big green yard. I feel this is sounding really familiar. I don't know. Maybe. I feel like I've watched some of him. Anyway, we're going to keep going on answering some of your questions. Sorry, I'm getting super distracted. Is the Tiny Hawk 2 worth the money? Is that the Tiny Hawk 2? And we've got a better... Oh, good. We've got some battery questions as well. Tiny Hawk 2... no. Okay, so the Tiny Hawk 2 is this one. If we look at my dodgy video right here. We've got obviously someone teaching me some music, which I would be terrible at. So this is the Tiny Hawk 2. This one over here, I don't think it was worth the money. I pretty much prefer the Tiny Hawk 1 over the Tiny Hawk 2 or the Mob 6. So the camera was just too loose to me. I wasn't getting very good flight times, and it just all around. If you want to go watch this video, this is on my channel, but it wasn't my favorite one to get. So definitely, I think there's better options there. It was nice you could adjust the camera, but it just wasn't executed properly. All right, back to batteries. KS wants to know what battery for Fat Shark Attitude and what extension cable do you recommend? And that is a good question because this is what I recommend for all goggle owners to have. So let's have a look at bangers here. Bangers and mash, no. And XT60 cable extension, maybe. It's something that looks like this. So it's kind of like this, but it's got the opposite plug on the end. It's got the opposite of both of those, actually. So let's see if we can find it. This bad boy right here. So you can get one. You can also get one that has a little right angle adapter on it, but this one's also good. It's like $3. You can power your Fat Sharks, your Omways, whatever you want to do. And even better, if you have a TS100, which is one of the best soldering irons in the biz, you can just plug your Lipos into that, power your TS100, which is a great little soldering iron. $55. Is that right? Okay. So there we go. That's a pretty good price. Also for the TS100, you hook that up and that little battery cable. So if you ever break something in the field, you can take that little plug out and also do some soldering work. And then when you're done, put it back in your goggles. Bob's your uncle. You're off to go flying. Josip says, batteries don't ship to my country. Yeah, I know that can be a bit of a pain. It's probably because they're big fire hazards. A lot of people don't like to touch them. Roland B, 1S batteries. When is puffy too puffy? So a bit of a story here. I actually met up with some lads from Discord, and yeah, we had a few people fly in, had a bit of a meetup, and did some FPV. Some people came in from different states, even different countries. We crashed at an Airbnb, flew around. One of the people there, you might have heard me talk about him on the channel. His flight name is Malice Vex FPV. He had some 1S batteries, and I was like, bro, these things are literal structural fire hazards right here. Do not keep these in your house. They look like a marshmallow. If they're puffy and you can compress them you can compress them quite a lot. Definitely get rid of them because it's just not worth it. You don't want them to go like, I don't know, it's just a bad idea, especially when they're like $4. lithium battery. It's just not worth it. And people are going to give me grief about this, but they always ask me, how do I dispose of batteries? I take them out to my driveway where there's just nothing but concrete around, and then I hit them with a hammer or hit them with some sort of, stab them with a screwdriver, hit them with a pick, an axe, whatever you need to do, just break them. And then I even pour a bit of water over them once I've done that to sort of react with the lithium and make sure all the energy comes out, because I don't really like putting them in some salted water, cutting the plugs off, all that. For these little batteries, just break them, let all the energy come out in a controlled environment, which is on the concrete. There's no fire hazards around, and then you're away, and you don't have to worry about it too much, and it takes like 5 seconds. All right. Plummet FPV says, I suck at taking care of lipos. I charge them when they get stuck. I get new ones. Lipo story over. Lol. Okay. Also, if you're going to ask me a question, thanks so much for the people who tag me with @UAV Futures when you're writing it in here. It makes it so much easier for me to actually jump in. Roland B. UAV Futures, call them ready to pops. Yeah, that's it. You've got bind and flies, ready to flies, and then those batteries that are really puffy. Yeah, ready to pop. That's good. Ryu wants to know, can you carry lipos on airlines? And the question for that is, it depends on your carrier. Most of the time, I would say 90% of the time, yes, you can. But the ones in Australia, you have to have it. I don't know about international. You have to have it in your carry-on. But all you need to do is simply Google up their restrictions, and it should tell you exactly how to do it. How you've got to care for the batteries. Should they be marked? There's certain cell sizes, how many you can take, all that sort of stuff. It just depends on what airline you're going to be using. Alrighty. Entity the Crafter. I would answer your question, brother, but you haven't tagged me at UAV Futures, so let's go again. Nico Buff 777 battery question. I just built a 4S quad, but it is showing up as one cell in beta flight. The OSD is showing 3 volts. Why is this? All right, that I might even be able to show you exactly in real time if I can plug in one of these cords. Hopefully this is all going to work. Nothing like doing things prepared on the spot. Let's see. Imagine if that just caught into flames. I'm going to load up Betaflight. And I've never plugged this quad in yet. So, and I'm also going to close down Premiere Pro because that would be chewing a lot of my juice on the laptop. And open up Betaflight Configurator, and I will show exactly why that's happening. All right. So this is my guess. So if we jump over here, I've plugged in this craft, which is pretty secret. So hopefully we can't see too much. I can't give away too much about this thing. But what you're looking on here, there is a setting which is battery voltage per cell and then also total battery voltage. So at the moment you can see mine says 16.8, but you probably have this one ticked, which is just here, battery average cell voltage. So you might have this one ticked. So that's why that's showing up. That would be my guess. So you need to, it depends. Some people like to fly around with the average, just whatever you prefer. I prefer to do the maths in my head. I'm a bit old school, so I've just got the total battery voltage there because I know I cut off my 4S packs at around 14 volts. So, yeah, so that's why I answered that question pretty well, I think. There we go. I feel like almost like a professional. So that is why when you are flying around, that's probably why you're only seeing a 1S. Even if you just built that 4S quad, everything's working correctly. It's just giving you the average. So, and the reason you want to know about the average is because you want to land around 3.5 volts per cell, because that means that you're not going to be damaging the chemistry inside your LiPo batteries. If you drop them too far, bad things can happen. And if I don't answer your questions, you can ask it a few times because they do get lost in the bit of a scroll as well. Benjamin Wallace, what state we're in? We're in Vic, so the very bottom of Australia. We've actually got a sunny day outside. You can see this lovely soft lighting coming in on my wonderful face right here. Challenge accepted at UAV Futures. Thanks so much for tagging me, brother. It makes it easy because the names pop up in a little bit of red. We can see, and this is what I mean too when I'm asking people to do this, because if I go to screen cap, you can see this is when you tag me at UAV Futures, it comes up with these little orange parts. So that's why I keep saying that. Let me just get this back here, and getting distracted. Oh, did I just refresh this? Okay. I think I was reading someone's questions. It was about the Lava X. Challenge accepted. I ordered the Lava X and it should be here soon. Should be here soon. I'm pretty excited and watched your review, and if Grumpy Trev gives it a 10, then it has to be a 10. Yeah, the Lava X was an absolute beast. I didn't really like the HD so much, but the original Lava X, taking that outdoors, ripping it around, it just went like a cut cat. It was just so much fun. It was one. There's a couple of little crafts that if you've got you know a craft is good. I'm going to unplug this drone actually. When you just can take it out of the box, you fly it, and the first feeling you have besides wow is when you finish flying is I need more batteries because it just works. It flew well, so you are going to have a lot of fun with the Lava X. All right. Ben is saying it pays to have the documentation printed out with the batteries. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Talking about airline travel. If you're traveling overseas, print it out. That's actually what I did one time when I flew up to Queensland a couple of years ago. I had their regulations there, so everything looks nice and safe. And they're like, oh, is this for that? You can show them in paper. And people tend to argue a lot less if you've got something printed out. What I actually used to do, I had a little cheat sheet that would say things about FPV. I even laminated it, and if anybody had any questions, I used to rip it out of my backpack, and no one ever argues with something that's laminated. It's got like some magic powers. Uh, Craig Balaz Kays. How's GT? Haven't seen him in a while. He is well. I don't know if he's been doing some videos lately. Let's check out when his last video was. Grumpy Trev. Here we go. His last video was 5 months ago. So he definitely has taken a bit of a hiatus from flying, mainly because he's been doing a lot of work with his IT business. It's in the medical scene, so he's definitely flat chat at the moment, trying to help people contain a lot of this stuff and supporting some people who are, kind of on the front line when it comes to fighting this coronavirus. Thanks for the time to look into it, man. You're awesome. No worries, Nico. UAV Futures. This one's from Nicholas Maudlin. I should just say the first name if I can't read the second one. Uh, I ordered everything you recommended for your under 300 FPV for beginner video. Can't wait. I hope it was the updated one. So there's definitely one that was from 2019, a couple of months old. Fisherman FPV, does the DJI system feature return to home GPS in case of failsafe? No. If you're going to be flying around that's this system. So I'm sure most people have heard about it, but let's have a look. The DJI FPV. If you're flying around this, the air unit, and they've taken this thing apart, does not have any internal GPS. You can set up GPS return to home on all your quads, but for racing quads, and you need to add a GPS module and antenna and all that sort of stuff. But these things, that's not what the racing crafts are for. You put this little air unit here, which is this thing which comes with it. That's your HD recorder. That's your camera. That doesn't do anything but provide the FPV signal. There's no return to home or anything like that, but which is fine. We don't actually need those. You shouldn't be flying these drones so far or out outside of line of sight so much where you don't need to hit that return to home. They should be within, I think, 100 meters of you or 200 feet or something, because really then why do you want to fly one of these crafts out that far when, especially if you crash, you got to go get it. So I don't know. And also it's about being a little bit safe. Jacob Boss, can I charge 4 batteries at 2C or should I only charge them at 1C? I think the safer. I actually do charge my batteries at about 1.5C, but can I charge 4S batteries at 2C? Sorry, I've misread that. All right, so Jacob, can I charge 4S batteries at 2C or should I only charge them at 1C? I'm going to give you some tips here. It doesn't matter whether it's a 1C, 2C, 3C, 4C, 5C, a 12C battery. You need to still charge them. It is safest to charge them at a 1C amount. So for example, I'm going to pick a number that is not a 1 because that's going to get confusing. Let's say you have a 1500 milliamp hour 4S battery. You're going to set your volts to the 4S voltage and then you charge at 1.5 amps. If it was a 6S 1200 milliamp battery, you would set your voltage to 6S and then you would charge at 1.2 amps. So that's the safest way to do it. So just because it's 4S or 5S doesn't actually change how much you charge the battery, how much amps you pump in. Alrighty, let's have a look here. Night Train is having a bit of a conversation. Is chat for live stream also on Discord? It is not, but thank you so much. I should actually ping my Discord and throw this up because I didn't even think about that and let some people know. There's also the Discord links are in the description as well. Might get a few more people popping in. Live on Discord. Jump in and jump in and say hi. So now we just pinged 1,200 people. I don't know why. I don't. There must be some bug where it only pings 10% or something like that. So if you're not on Discord, the link is in the description. Go check that out as well. What do you think about the Remix V2 frame? Let's have a bit of a Google. We're going to have a look at Phaser FPV. What do I think about this one? It's from Soa Vive. So I wonder what's different to the Remix V1. Now I know this was designed, I believe, by Tommy or Oh My God, who I think is an amazing pilot and someone who really loves this hobby, does a lot for the hobby, so a really good ambassador. Got some nice high-res photos. I don't know what the difference is though too much between the Remix V1. I was originally going to, I remember when this was sort of cloned, I think the original Remix V1, and I asked Tommy, or not actually Tommy, I think I asked Rotor Ride or someone, hey, do you want me to review one of these frames and try and get a bit more exposure for the original, but it wasn't, they didn't seem to want to do that. Changes from V1. All right, all hardware is now countersunk. Aluminium parts are beautifully anodized. That's, I guess, I couldn't really care about the look part so much. New top plate design, strengthened at corners, removed the arm pockets and added strap slots. That sounds good. We've got a strengthened bottom plate, a beefier carbon protection with the camera cage. All right, so seems pretty legit. I wonder if this is in US dollars or AU dollars. So, but with any frame as well, if you're going to get a premium frame, you are going to pay a premium. But for a frame like this, it supports a really cool pilot who does a lot of, I think, design work and does a lot for the hobby. So I guess it's kind of like you get a cool frame and you're also supporting someone as well if you want to pick that up. But it is still an awful lot of dosh if you're just going to. I would say for a beginner, it's not made for a beginner. This is really made for a FPV freestyle enthusiast, and you would get a lot out from this frame, a lot of mileage. Roland B has got another 1S batteries. Is 2 months too long to keep batteries charged in a box after moving? Asking for a friend. Yeah, probably. What's the best practice for flying? Juicy. Same as any other practice for flying. Just jump on the sim and get stick time. There's no better. There's no substitute for stick time. That could be a thumbnail. There is no substitute for stick time. There you go. Someone else can make that video, and you'll see it on someone else's channel, I'm sure. Is it still okay? Farm Q. Is it still okay to charge, say, a 1300 on 3 amps if they're high discharge batteries? I would say no. That is too much. I wouldn't be charging. If it's a 1300 battery, you should be charging at 1.3 amps. Sometimes you can boost that just a little bit, and people say it's fine. But in the that is best practice. Sometimes I will charge my 1500s at 2S, but a 1300 on 3 amps I think is too much. Challenge accepted. Any idea why my flight controller stopped making noises when powering on, but it still lights up? I think you have a problem between it's all about the startup tones, and I would say check your signal cable from your flight controller to your ESCs, because the first bit is like the ESCs initializing, and then the second tone is when they are actually communicating to the flight controller, kind of checking it, like, yep, it's all working all together. So that's where I'd start your problem shooting anyway. Adam wants to know, at UAV Futures, I'm looking to get into FPV for around 150. Is there a mini Whoop, ready to fly for that? Yeah, there actually is. And I would say something like this, the ready to fly Emax Tiny Hawk bundle for 150, which is this, is actually a fairly fun little craft. The goggles, I'm not the biggest fan of, but they're not absolutely terrible. The radio is better than some of the other cheap radios that are out there. Let's see if we got some. Here we go. The radio, 4 out of 10. The goggles, 4 out of 10. I do have a video on my channel about it, but the drone itself, maybe an 8 out of 10. I have bought so many of these. Like with my own money, I spent over probably $2,000 on Tiny Hawks, buying a whole bunch, taking them around, letting people fly them. This craft here, it's strong, it's reliable, it's robust. I actually don't mind the camera too much. You can do a little 3D printed mount, which makes it a bit better. But yeah, overall, easy to use, robust flying little craft. It comes with a little charger. This, I think, what is it in US dollars? Let's put it here in USD. Okay, 161 USD. So there you go. That's what you've got to work with. Rightio. Daz at UAV Futures. Thanks very much for tagging me. What brand battery would you recommend for a 6S setup? Currently using Overnick, which I've never even heard of. 1300 6S Lipos, and it sags like crazy on punch outs. Some people like the China hobby line, although in my experience and a lot of my friends' experiences, they're great to start with, but the reliability after a while, they seem to drop a lot of cells. I've got a mate who bought maybe 6, and I don't know if he got a bad batch. I think he has 1 left after about 2 months. I think Granger might use the Big Daddy batteries. Actually, I think I've heard him mention those quite a few times. Big Daddy Lipo. And BMS Web. Here we go. Big Daddy from Next FPV. I don't know if they've got some. We've got some 6S versions, 1300s. So these bad boys. Here we go. So 46 Aussie dollars. It's so hard to check now. So yeah, maybe try checking those out if you want to. And I know BMS Thomas as well, who's a really, really fast racer, one of the best in the world. I think he uses a lot of Big Daddy batteries, but I could be wrong. It might have changed from now. V Midget, you at UAV Futures, the eSheen EV100 DVR work with the Fat Shark Anti-Attitude V3, because the Attitude V3 AV in out. I don't actually understand exactly what you're asking. Oh, will the DVR work? Yes, it will. You can run, if you want to record with the EV, whatever that little the eSheen DVR, and it has Attitude out, you should be able to record into that. Red Derp, what's your opinion on the best? Something, he's just written a bit of accidentally hit enter. Roland B's asking, you're the quad father of FPV. Cheers, and thank you for all you do. Thank you so much for your support, brother. It is very much appreciated. And Liam Patterson wants to know, what are your thoughts on the iFlight Turbo B 136RS? Let's have a Google right here. iFlight Turbo B. It's popping up. Oh, actually, I don't think that they're good thoughts. From, that's the 66. No. Here we go. Okay. That's this bad boy. That actually looks okay. Let's have a look at some of the specs. So, and it's sold out. Let's see how much it costs first, because that'll determine its value, which is probably the most important thing for me when I'm actually looking at a drone. 134 bucks. Okay, I'm liking that. That seems very, very cheap, and especially for iFlight. Let's have a look here. 1104s. 3mm bottom plate, compatible with a 4S. 4200 kV, a CADX turbo, F4 flight controller. You know what? I think that thing looks pretty baller. I would say, yeah. I think I want to get one of these. Actually, I would love to fly this thing around. How much is it? As in weight. How much does it weigh? Does it have a weight on here? Let me know if you see it. I could be build weight 65 grams without batteries. Man, I reckon this thing would scream. All right, let's keep having a look here. Do a Turbo B review. I don't know what drone that Turbo B would be. Whew, it's getting super warm in here actually. That window open or the sun coming in. Let's have a look. Is there a way? So Russell wants to know, is there a way to check the capacity of a 1S battery? I have several that ran great in the beginning but now die after a few seconds. I think when you're going to charge them on your charger, it will tell you, especially on a 1S, how much it puts back in there. So you should be able to read on the charger. It'll say, put this much back in. So that will tell you. But if it's a small 1S battery, like some of those tiny little Woot ones, they just tend to die anyway. There's nothing you can really do about it. Good batteries, cheap batteries, they're all end up the same, especially when it comes to those little ones. All right, I need to put an arrival notice in or something for this little iFlight Turbo B. It looks good. In your opinion, Red Dirt wants to know, what is the best beginning drone? Best beginner drone. It's got to be robust. It's got to be really good value. It's got to be beginner friendly in terms of if you need to do repairs on it. There's a few options. There is let's show you right here, and I would say go like a 5-inch racer. Probably the Nazgul is great. It's not it's very fast, but it is a really, really good value drone, and it's coming in, you can see here, at $190. So I would think that's a pretty good one. There is also the Buzz Emax Buzz, which is a little bit more freestyle, but oh, that's more pricey. That's like double the price. So it is a bit more robust though. So you can see it's got a lot better camera protection, and I think that's going to last a bit longer in some heavy crashes. So probably at that price, the Nazgul. So hopefully that helps you there, Red Dirt. Challenge accepted. I have a Racer Star all-in-one ESC. How can I check when it doesn't make a noise? Check what? How can you check if you've got it? Or I don't understand. Need a little bit more info. My board might be dead. Any budget stacks that are good? The Mamba stack, I think, is it the Diatone Mamba? A lot of people seem to really like this one. So here we've got a 40 amp 3 to 6S ESC. It also comes with your flight controller. So yeah, a lot of people seem to like that one. Just have a bit of a Google. When will you make your own frame? This one's from Ryu. Probably never. I've been contacted from a lot of companies and saying, hey, put your name on this, but I don't want to. It's just not, not what I believed in. I didn't want to be the person who was making my own products and then also reviewing products, and then it just muddies the water a little bit, and like saying, oh, just buy this one that's my frame that I designed, guys, and but also here's these other reviews, and I'll say some bad things about this one, but have you seen this? You should go and buy my frame. I didn't want to be that sort of person where or even be seen to having my own stuff, so that's why I don't have my own frame. Even though, yeah, it probably would have made a heap of bank off it. It would have been great, and would have been in a much better financial situation. You see some. I don't want to. I'm not going to get too negative here about what some other people have done, but yeah, no, it would be cool to have a heap of cash, but it's not what I want to do for the community. My legacy that I want to leave for FPV is just getting people flying, getting out there, having fun, loving this hobby, and just being free when you put those goggles on, and just how special it is on so many levels. That's why I don't have my frame. Long story short. So if you're waiting for a UAV Futures frame, I might write one on Texter, and there you go. But I'm never gonna actually have my own one. Adam wants to know, if I were to upgrade to a 5-inch later, would I be able to use my Tiny Hawk controller and goggles with the upgraded one? Yes, you can, but you are much better suited to buying just saving up. Once you've done that, save up, get yourself like some Onway V1S goggles or get the Hawkeye VR goggles, which I think are like $90. Save up and get those other editions as well, because the radio, you don't want to be flying a really good drone with, excuse me, with a 4 out of 10 radio, and the same for the goggles. So it's really, you can, but it's not worth it. You're not going to have the same FPV experience. It's not going. It'd be like saying, I'm going to use a car analogy here, and I'll try my best to see if I can fit it in, or maybe I'll do a cooking analogy. Let's go with cooking, and you've bought the ingredients to make a cheap frozen hamburger that's like a 4 out of 10, right? And you say, hey, can I upgrade this beef? Nah, that beef, that analogy's going nowhere. Don't do it. If you upgrade, like that's a beginner kit, the Emax Radar 5 bundle. Save up again after that, and you should get a better drone and radio. Yes, it will work, but it's not recommended. Why my batteries doesn't full? Well, Entity the Crater at UAV Futures. Why my batteries doesn't full? Doesn't fly? It doesn't fully charge. I don't understand what you mean right there. Liam has another question, which we've got here. I've got 2 4S packs, and now 2 of the 4 cells show different voltages, one lower, one higher. How can I fix this? It depends how much is it out. If it's in charging, I would say it could be an issue on your charger. So when it's fully charged, is one saying 4.24 and one saying 4.18 or something? Or if it's after a heavy flight and you've ripped it around, and one might say 3.45, one might say 3.25, that could just kind of be, not all cells are created equal. There could be a little bit of a difference, but that's kind of normal. Not all cells are going to be exactly the same all the time, but in charging, they should charge up to the same. Night Train FPV. My Mamba FPV F7 is great, so that's this one we're talking about here. This might be the F4 version, but yeah, I have heard a lot of people say good things. Maple FPV at UAV Future. You need to put that S on there so the tag shows up. What's my favorite prop? Any value prop that doesn't break. So I don't. It's got to be a tri-blade. Something like the Cyclones or HQ, or you know what? It doesn't really bother me what sort of prop that I'm flying, as long as they're not breaking as soon as I clip a branch or something. Then I've got no issues. And if I don't have oscillations when they're first on there, good. That's enough for me to still get out and enjoy flying. I think too many people spend too much time discussing and arguing over the specific pitch, prop, size, all that sort of stuff. Man, just go have fun. Here's a secret: they all kind of feel very similar. I guess it's like saying, what's your favorite tire on a car? Like, I don't know, most of us are just driving our car to work. We're not going to, like, maybe if you're a hardcore racer, yes. If you are hardcore into racing cars, yes, tires make a difference. But for the majority of our FPV community, which I would say is 90% of people, we are just taking our craft out to the park, having fun with some mates, flying around the backyard, flying around the farm, flying around just in the field. Yeah, cool. It's not going to make too much of a difference. If you're a hardcore racer, okay, then you might notice some difference. But even then, I bet I could give Granger a set of Cyclones or a set of something, and he would still be almost just as competitive as when he's using his favorite prop. All right. Roland B. We need a UAV Futures inspired design frame. I probably just answered that as I was sort of going in there. So challenge accepted is still asking about his. Sorry, I have a racer star all-in-one flight controller. When it's powered up, it doesn't make a noise. How can I troubleshoot? So you need to check the signal cable from the flight controller to where it's connecting to the ESC and see if that's happening. Plug your drone in. Does it make a noise? Unplug it. See if it makes the same noise. Check the actual connections on the pins. Are they fitting into correctly? Has anything been bent? That's where I would start looking for your problems. Is it worth upgrading the module on the Fat Shark Attitudes? It depends what to. Maybe like to the Owl RC module. I think the Owl RC is a really good module. I don't know if it fits in the Attitude. You're probably talking the Attitude V5s. Alan Haberfield wants to know, what do you think of 12S? I don't know. It's it's twice as good as 6S. But yeah, I guess I'm not going to be jumping on that hype. Those batteries are far too of a strange shape. I don't think it's where we're going to be heading at all. A lot of fun for a bit of an experiment, but yeah, definitely not. I don't see the future of quads going to 12S. Degree wants to know what's going on, big dog. Not much, just doing a bit of a live stream, just chilling out. Jack Chapman, how does the Tyrannus QX7 stack up now as a good first transmitter? I would say still 7 out of 10. It's definitely how much are these nowadays? Let's have a bit of a Google. And we're talking beginner for a first transmitter as well. We're not saying this is what people should go and buy. It's $119. Oh, here's one that looks like it's $104. The only thing I don't like is it's got this Access or ACCST stupid bizzo going on, which I really, really dislike that. I would probably say, though, if you look at the Tango 2 TBS, which is here. Let's see, which one of these? Let's have a look at custom quads. I've never heard of this place before, but it's 260. That must be Australian. I think the Tango 2 is 150 USD. And yeah, so I would say I prefer the Tango 2. Save up that $40. It's going to do a lot of favors. Really going to UAV Futures for battery advice. That's from Hader Mavel. I guess he knows all the biz. Go check out his stuff right there. Definitely, he probably wouldn't appreciate my advice when I said go smash stuff with a hammer on your driveway. See what's happening here. Oh. Let's have a look. Maybe I'm getting good. I don't know if it dropped out there or what happened or who knows. Must have been looking at this custom quads site. Wonder what else this place is selling. FPV racing and freestyle. Oh, nice little toolkits there. Let's see. How much is a frame? Sold out. Source one is a good frame. Oh, the BMS. This is actually something that I do think is pretty cool. The BMS JS1. That's a cool quad. I would be excited to try that one. Am I ready to fly FPV? Wow. Oh, you guys can't even see what I'm talking about. I was talking about this craft here. Sorry, the stream got me all confused. This is what I was talking about. This looks cool. Anyway, back to some of these questions. Finn wants to know, what product am I hyped about? There's some products that I want to see improve, like the Omway Digital. I would like to see that get a bit better. I don't know if there's going to be like a new DJ Lite or anything released. The CADX, not the CADX, the Vista was a pretty cool one. But what I really think I'm excited about, at least for the immediate future, would be some of these tiny little micro recording crafts like the Betaflight X HD, because we're all going to be stuck inside for quite a while. So it'd be cool to have some of these little micro crafts. We could just have some real races in the house, have some fun, and record some of that HD footage as well. So that's definitely something that I am looking forward to in the future. But I don't know, what products are you guys excited about? Carlos Floors. Oh, yeah, another good beginner radio is the Jumper T16 as well. Yes, how could I forget that one? That is a good beginner radio. But I would probably prefer to have the TBS Tango 2, especially if I'm just getting into the hobby. If you already have a lot of quads and you've got a lot of different things to bind up to, Jumper T16 is going to serve a lot of people well, and if you want to do wing flying. But if you're just jumping in to do FPV and drone racing, well, the Tango 2. Thurkamator wants to know, how come you don't do drone builds anymore? Probably because a lot of the stuff is just the same. It's still wiring up 4 motors to an ESC. It's just the same flight controller with a different camera in there. All that sort of stuff is, I've made enough videos. The reason I do my channel is to teach people about FPV, get them into the hobby, and I don't need to make a new video twice just to get more views or get people watching that. you know, oh, watch this build, watch this build, watch this build. That's not what it's about. If I've done it once and it's explained well, I can just share that video with people. They can look at the whole library. I've got whole build playlists, all that sort of stuff. So it needs to be actually something different where people are going to be learning a skill that I have not previously covered rather than just rehashing the same thing all the time. So that's why there's not, you know, a build video every week. So let's have a look here. Carlos really must like his T16 over the TBS Tango 2. Motorboy, my friend, has got a Mob 6. That is an awesome little craft. You are going to be having a lot of fun. Pro version is $200 US. Oh yeah, there's also a pro version of the TBS Tango 2 where the gimbal sticks, I believe, actually flip up and you can fold them down, so it becomes a very, very flat radio if you want to do that. All right. Jack Chapman. Oh, there's lots of questions here. What batteries do I use every day? Whatever's charged. Honestly, probably something that has lasted me the longest time has been these ones. Turnigy. What are those batteries? Graphenes. Some people might cringe when they see these things. 15. Let's have a look for a 1500, and I'll show you a picture on the screen in a second. These. I got these bad boys. Let's see if Hobby King's probably not going to load up. I got these bad boys right here for 20 bucks delivered. That's $20 Australian. So it was on a crazy deal, and I think I bought about 50 of them. So yeah, that's my battery of choice that I fly every day. Yeah, they've died, but for the value, for the price, if you can get a battery on special like this, it has been amazing. They're a little bit heavier, but that's not a bad place to have weight. When it's in your battery, it's better than having weight, say, in wasted carbon or in some TPU mounts or any garbage like that. The battery part, there's only so much you can fudge the chemistry of a battery, and I feel like if, for example, you picked up a battery the size of this USB and it has written on the side 2000 milliamp hours, you know that it's lying. This, I feel like, really are true representations of a 1500 battery, and they just last really well for me. I've been using these. These are my everyday batteries, but yeah, they're getting a bit old now, but for the 20 buck price, I definitely could not complain. All right. Any advice? This one's from Corey. Any advice on the BioHeli suite or configurator? Can't get either of them to work. FML. So I don't know. Update your drivers. Maybe make sure. I know for me, when I'm doing the BioHeli stuff, it doesn't connect if I don't have my battery plugged in. I don't know. Just like it won't read if I don't have my battery plugged in. At least when it's working when I'm doing it. Look at all the battery questions. UAV Futures. Red Derp. Do we think the Ishin Novice 3 is a good beginner drone? Maybe I think, let's check out. What is that? Novices 3. Have a look at brands from Ishin. That's this one. The drone was okay. 5.5 out of 10. I haven't seen this kit before though. That might be okay, actually. Because that radio might be that radio would definitely feel better than the usual novice one, and those goggles would definitely feel better. But yeah, the drone itself, yeah, 5.5, it wasn't terrible. In the original beginner kit, it was the best part of it. The goggles I didn't like, and the cheap toy radio definitely wasn't a fan of. Radio. Fat Chuck is about to release something very cool. I've seen it. Oh, that's great. I can't wait to not be sent that and only be told don't have to watch all those early videos about it. That'd be cool though to see. If hopefully they've got something that compete with maybe the Orcas, which seem to be a better goggle, or maybe they're doing something digital. That would be cool as well. Let me have a look here. I saw something about a stack. It's hard when I start to scroll down the questions and then it jumps down heaps. was something about a stack. Do I remember a Kendrick FPV? Do you recommend 30 by 30 stacks or 20 by 20 stacks? I guess it depends. Each one, I would say a 30 by 30 is probably more reliable, but if you are really trying to cut down the weight and pushing the limits, then 20 by 20. And of course, it depends on the quality of them, all that sort of stuff. But I'm not going to be pushing for my builds to have a 20 by 20 because I don't care about saving those 3 grams or whatever the actual difference is. So, and they're more difficult to work on a 20 by 20 as well. So I'm probably happy just with the large square stacks. If anybody doesn't know though, that might be a bit of a loaded question because I think Kendrick is actually a bit of a freak on the sticks, placing very highly in some races. I think maybe over in Indonesia, possibly. Um, Liam Patterson is telling me one cell is 3.4 volts, the other is 4.1, and the other is 3.7. Yeah, so I think that could either be a problem with the charger or that 4.1 cell, something could be faulty there. That sounds like. And is that when you're charging it? Because if it's when you're charging, that's not good. If it's after a flight, it's also not good. Doug broke at FPV. Why? I think he's going to trying to say, why don't you fly at the old UAV Futures test track? The reason's simple, because they planted all these trees there where when you're flying around trying to do that actual track, there's all these shrubs and stuff. The actual track we used to fly is not possible, and what is left there now, because all the shrubs are too close together to really go through, what is left there now is just a couple of trees. We still do go there occasionally, like maybe once every 6 months, but it's more to fly up and down the river that's close by. I find there's better spots to go and fly now than there that I enjoy more. So that's the simple reason there. The one profit. Hey, looking at getting your latest beginner setup, do you have any updates on the first drone in that setup? So the latest beginner one, we had the Lava X HD, and you know what? This I haven't tested it, but we just had a look. If you look at earlier in the stream, it was like the iFlight 136R or something from memory. That looks pretty cool for the price, so I would definitely think about maybe trying that out as well. But I haven't tried it. I would like to try it though. Explain how to use Betaflight for beginners. So, Johnny DRC, what I would say to you, mate, is that if you Google your Futures Betaflight setup, there is like a whole playlist designed on how to flash it, how to go in, set your modes up, your switches, your mapping, setting up smart audio. I've done so many videos on how to set that up in detail, because that's kind of a bit tricky to say how to explain how to set that up on a live stream, and it is going to be different for every single drone that you're having, it depending on your motor mapping, depending on what flight control you're using, if you're using a smart audio protocol, what channel mapping you're going to have, what receiver that you've got, all that sort of stuff, the OSD setup, the mode setup, how your radio set up. It is all it's not universal, it's specific per drone. So the videos that I've made go through those explanations and teach people, okay, if we're doing smart audio today, these are the settings, they correspond with these drones that do this, all that sort of stuff. So go check those bad boy videos out. All right, good morning, good afternoon, Gal Kramer. So thanks for tuning in, brother. I don't know what the time is where you got. It's about 3 p.m. here in Australia. I've got to go start getting dinner ready on soon for the little one. Pete Gray, have you tried the Kero 6S 1300 race series batteries? I have not. What I want is a modular drone that flies like my 5-inch. I think we all would like that. Let's have a look here. Good. Bananas wants to know, good 5-inch starting drone. That was the Nazgul, which we spoke about. Best batteries for a Tiny Hawk. Now, this is a good one. I'm going to say cheap ones. I think they're 450. These ones. There we go. Probably those. So that's $18 for 5 packs. Just get those bad boys. Bob's your uncle. You're off to the races. Verse, what's the price there? Like $4 each, $3 each, $3.50 each. Versus something like this. These are probably better batteries, but at about a 50% markup in price. Versus these ones. All right. Kendrick is saying at UAV Futures, I've heard many of my friends using 2020 stacks. Their quad's much more lighter, but the ESC burns more than the 30-30 stacks. And he's from 13 from Indonesia. Yeah, so like we're saying, it's more reliable probably to use 30 by 30, but I don't know about much lighter because the 30 by 30 stacks probably only weigh like 2 grams difference if I had to guess. Maybe they're building smaller drones with those, so they're able to have smaller canopies, all that sort of stuff. Hey, we even got Andy RC in here. Hey, I feel like I'm a big fan of Andy's as well. So, and he's talking to how's Trev, Cal, Granger doing? Are they all managing okay? So, Trevor, he's super busy working on his business, I guess, because he's involved in that medical side of things. Cal he's stuck. He's an essential worker that he's got a service that he's got to go to all the time. Granger would probably be locked inside based on lockdown because I don't think with his job it's not an essential service, so he's inside. And yeah, we're all doing the best we can. Everybody's well, as far as I know, but yeah, we can't meet up. Definitely can't go for a fly. You're not allowed to get out and go flying. Get like $1,000 fine, pretty much if you're caught outside. If you're not exercising, getting supplies, or caring for somebody, or going to an essential service for work. It's 2 a.m. there. Good night, Plummet FPV. A few people say, oh, it's 6 a.m. over in the UK, Andy. What are you doing up there, brother? That's way too early to be watching these drone videos. Can Crossfire have multiple drones set to the same module? You know what? I actually don't know the answer to that one. So every time I just turn on my radio, it just seems to work. So whether that's switching itself automatically or whether it does bind up to the same thing, I don't know. Rombo RC, have you ever had a Lipo flame up on you? Yep, absolutely. Sometimes when I've just been pushing my batteries too hard, you bring them in, you take the Velcro. It's usually when the Velcro comes off, all that gas seems to just expand. It tears a hole in the Lipo, and then it's on fire. But it always makes for a good video as well. We had one the other day. We're running across the field. I thought Tony was joking, and there is a sneak peek somewhere on my channel, and he's like, "It's on fire." I was like, "What? No, it's not." And yeah, it is. And I'm like, "I thought you were joking." We're running across the field, and trying to go put some flames out, but definitely. Not often though, maybe like 4 or 5 times in the history of my hundreds and hundreds of flights. Radio. Have you ever flown? This one's from Glenn M. Have you ever flown the GTA 5 flight simulator? What do you think about it? I have not, but I have seen a really cool video where Andy RC did a bit of I don't know if it was a parody or something, but he said you can even kick a dog, and he kicked a dog in that in that video game sim, and then he went flying. So I don't know. I definitely should try it out though. I do have GTA 5. I've probably only played it for about 20 minutes though. So maybe I should check it out for the sim. And if it does, how does it feel? If it feels good, it might be fun being able to fly through that large city and scream around. All right. I'm building my first FPV thing right now. That's from Spiritual Mummy. Well, that's good to know. I hope you've got some good kits. Make sure you're pre-tinning everything. Heat up that soldering iron. Make sure you tin the wires, tin the pads before you join anything, and get some soldering experience. Flying is exercise. Gotta retrieve those wrecked drones. That's from Lazy221. How to purchase a battery charger. You just Google Lipo battery charger and then put in your payment information and get it shipped to you. It's 10 o'clock in Las Vegas. Cody SA, UAV Futures. Don't you have a newborn baby? How is 6 a.m. early? Lol. You know what? I actually have the world's most amazing wife. I tend to do a bit of the late shift in this household. I've got to get up. I look after my daughter. Sometimes she wakes up a lot of the time, and whether she's having a nightmare or whatever she's doing. So I'm often up late into the night, and I might be awake from like 2 to 4 or something in that time. So then in the morning, my wife is trying to sleep in that time, and then in the morning, my wife gets up early. And today I got probably one of the biggest sleep-ins I've had in, I don't know, the last 6 months. I woke up at about 10:30. I couldn't believe it. It was crazy. And then I kind of just had lunch. I totally just skipped breakfast. But normally I would not be waking up at 6 a.m. That is not my preferred hour of the day anyway. Thanks for doing the live stuff, Stu. No worries, Doug Broke. Remember, thumbs up button if you appreciate it. It definitely does help. Or thanks to those few people who threw in the super chats. Definitely does make a difference in these tricky times. Kendrick, just a fun question. Have you become a special guest in a race event? Nope, I have not. One really cool thing I did though was I got to go to the Avalon Air Show down here, and I got like this cool like media pass. And I can remember we went in. There was like a special FPV drone race event there, and I got to go in and talk to like the army guys who were showing like these little black wasn't the black well not the Black Hawk, the Black Hornet little drones. They were flying those around. We got to talk about those, and everyone else had to kind of wait outside these nets. I was allowed to go in there and like do like this media interview with all the people. That was a really really fun time, and I have this cool memory of we walked in and I got like media passes. I was able to get some for Jono, Trevor, Calvin, and Granger was already there doing some as part of a race invite. But anyway, so we walked in, was a stinking hot day, and it's I think the tickets are like normally about $120 or something. So it was pretty cool to get these media pass tickets. We got to drive right up. We went inside, got our passes, and then I walked to like this tent place, and there was like security there that was stopping people. This is like where all the reporters and everything is inside this little. I don't know, media center. I don't know what you want to call it. Little walled off section where it had like good air con, all these drinks and foods and stuff. And we're just standing there with our backpacks, and I was like, "Oh, so is this the media stuff in here?" I guess I was feeling not intimidated, but apprehensive. And he goes, "Yeah, you're not allowed in here. This is for media people only." And I was like, "Oh, no, that's me. We've got our media passes." And he's like, "Oh, yeah, sure, come in." And the guy's face just completely changed. And once we're like, "Yep, there's a I'm coughing. Yeah, there's our media passes." So that was cool going in there. Anyway, I'm getting way too distracted. Is Banggood still shipping to the US? I have no idea. Missed a whole bunch of questions. Leezy, you on the COD grind right now? No, I am not. I did get COD, but it pretty much makes on my laptop run like 900 degrees, so I do not want it to explode because that's what I use to do all my videos. So, no. Let's have a look. But I really did enjoy that question, Kendrick. Thank you very much. Do you know which mode the Mob 6 is? I really don't understand modes. It can be either mode. If you're talking about angle or acro mode, it doesn't really matter. You can set that up to be whatever mode you like. And if you're talking about like a flight controller, a drone binding to a radio, it doesn't matter whether you'll use mode 1 or mode 2, whatever preferred mode radio you have, the drone will still connect to either one of those. All right. Let's have a look here. Good morning, Norway. It's 7 a.m. in the morning. Hope I'm healthy. Yes, no, we're not sick here. We're just doing self-isolation anyway. Well, everyone has to do self-isolation, but we were pretty careful because we had a newborn baby, so we weren't taking any chances. We were kind of isolating ourselves before all this stuff sort of kicked off. All right, let's have a look here. People talking about the DRL sim. It's better. You've just been looking at that battery page for like ever. Kendrick, will you want to be a special guest in a race at Velocidrone Racing League? Maybe. We'll have to see, I guess, what's happening. It might be cool if I could do it on a live stream with some of you guys or something like that. Christopher Pitts wants to know, I want a freestyle drone to look at landscapes from FPV goggles and reach out as far as I can. Um, I would say that's not really what FPV's about. If you want to go as far as you can, you'd be better off getting a Mavic or something if you want to look at that scenery. Because have a look at analog video and some of the FPV feeds that we're getting, it's not the same. Not saying you can't do it, but if that's what you want to look at, is looking at the landscapes and stuff, maybe try checking out either the DJI digital system or just using like a Mavic or some sort of better filming rig. UAV Futures, is your review of the S1 charger still valid? It's like 18 months old. Is there anything more up to date? Let me Google that. Do you have any more info? If it was a cheap one, it's probably like a budget one. I'm not sure. Whereabouts in Vic do you fly? Pretty much I go to the in-laws place a lot. That's a good place where I used to flying. We don't really go to the test track too much anymore. And I think I can hear my wife calling out in the background, or my daughter carrying on outside. And for 66 minutes, what I am going to do, I thought I'd just jump in. Kendrick, why am I being blocked in Discord? Well, brother, that was because you'd come into the voice channels and pump nothing but music after about 4 warnings. So that's why you're banned on those voice channels for a while. That's why we can't hear you. McDaddy, FPV, did you use all my commanders stock or did you mod them, particularly the faceplate and the foam? I used them stock. For the whole year I flew them, I used them stock, but the foam was deteriorating in the end. It was hanging all over my face and wasn't the best, but it didn't bother me that much. Radio. Oh, and why can't you shoot me a PM on Discord? That's because there's over 13,000 members on the UAV Futures Discord. So as soon as I unlock that part, there's far too many messages that come in and people asking me about drones, which is not a problem, but I prefer that to go through my email. It's just easier to keep track of. I don't want to keep track of messages. I've already got my Patreon messages, huge shout out to those people, and I've got my email messages. So that's why it's blocked on Discord, because I just didn't want that other place to have to go and look for work as well. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm going to log off, go hang out with my family a little bit. I can hear them outside having some fun, and I don't know, let me know what you think about this live stream. Thumbs up if you did enjoy it, and thumbs down if you thought it was the worst live stream ever. On that, subscribe for more FPV related content, and I don't know, maybe I'll do another one sometime soon. Maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day, who knows? It's all about having some fun. So anyway, as always, happy flying. Alrighty. I also have to find, like, how do I end these streams? Being someone who is new to this sort of stuff, I think it's this button here. Anyway, happy flying. End.